I was born in Hollywood. My mother was born in Hollywood, and we came down here in 1933, and I was one. I was born in 32, and my father built a house, 211 Diamond, for $1,470, including the land and the furniture. The reason my dad had a house on the middle of the island is, why didn't you buy one on the South Bay? And he said, I wouldn't spend another $100 for that. It's true. My dad wanted to get out of the city, but he still worked in the city, and he'd come down on the weekend.
What did he do?
He sold Talon fasteners, zippers, for 46 years.
I guess it's a good business, or was.
Well, it's no longer in the world. The Japanese came in with a plastic zipper, and Talon fastener went very fast.
But it was good enough to enable them to spend $1,500 on a place down on Balboa Island.
Yep. All you needed was a bicycle and a pair of trunks. And I look out there today, what a difference. You could shoot a cannon down Marine Avenue and not hit anything. I don't know how I met him, but I met John Duckett, and Fred Duckett lived up where the Beaks lived, right around the corner. And I crewed for John Duckett and when I was 7 years old in the Flyer Snowbird. And that's my first memory of really sailing. And I sailed, if you want to know the whole thing, I sailed till 1968, sailed in the Olympic trials. And
Well, you're that good.
well, that's your opinion. I continued to sail. We were members of the Newport Harbor Yacht Club. 1939, I first walked in there. And right now, I'm the oldest member in the joint. Don't tell anybody. We had rowing races, we had swimming races, we had sabot races, we had snowbird races. We had this deal where you can swim across the bay if you want. So we'd swim across the bay and come back. That's where I earned money to go to Stanford. It cost $775 a year. Now it's $75,000.
What was your degree in?
Petroleum geology. Couldn't make a dime. So I called a buddy of mine and I said, let's build houses down here. So I built Newport Shores for him, and 7,500 more houses in the area. It was Don
What was the name of
Ayers.
your company?
Frank H. Ayers and Son Construction Company. I didn't own any of it. I was an employee. It is that Bud March, who was the vice president of Signal Oil Company, where I worked in both the shafts. That's why I got the job. He asked my dad, "You got to buy this house for $25,000." He says, "It ain't worth it. It's not worth it." And so he came back the next year and he said, "Well, Bill, I'll sell it to you for $50,000." Are you kidding? It wasn't worth $25,000. Well, the third year he came back and he says, "You're really stupid if you don't buy this house. I'm going to sell it back to him for $25,000, and he bought it. And my mother's name was Sarah Louise Jager. She was red hair and vivacious. And she'd been here a long time. And that was fun for us kids because our mother was kind of famous. Not really, but we thought because I grew up with George and Bob Yardley. And George Yardley, you know him?
The NBA Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah. And they lived on the little island, and we played basketball with them. And my brother and I could beat them.
Well, you were quite an athlete then. You were a sailor and you could play basketball with George Yardley?
Well,
I think he's in the Hall, was in the Hall.
oh yeah, but he was growing, and all of a sudden he passed us up like that.
And his mom was the social director at the Balboa.
Yeah, Dorothy Yardley. And Dorothy Yardley was my mother's best friend, so. When I got into flying and flew my airplane around the world, single engine, and have a lot of stories about that. It take another 3 days. And he's the director of engineering for Northrop. And he's 38 years old. He's a lot smarter than I am.
How do you describe it to people? What it was like to
It
grow
was
up?
the finest place to grow up as a boy in the world. That's how I describe it. Because all you needed was a bicycle and a pair of trunks. That's all you needed.